we understand that you have done a study on the role of the media during this political conflict, right? So what have you found out so far? Should we be happy with the way the media are doing their job, or should we ask for more?
From my point of view and from the study that I have read through and also what I have conducted lately, I think in the political atmosphere right now, I think there's a lot of, marketplace of idea. I can say that, right?
Which should be good, right?
Yes, I think it's lively, and I think people can pick up and choose what really, from their angle, what really benefit and the knowledge they can seek in both sides. Actually, if I see from my point of view, I like to start with. From what I see from both the mainstream media and also from the social media side, I think both have done a lot of, like a jigsaw that, kind of complete each other. Because for mainstream media, for example, for like traditional media, like the news media, news station, they inform like knowledge and they have like analysis of the news. Whereas the social media, we can find like people can go to influencer, like even a page for like students or like a youngster right now, they have their own station to hand out the news, and that's the news source. And that source, I think, more than knowledge, that really, can give an emotional appeal to the audience as well. So in a democratic society, I think for that kind of character of news, people in general can really select both knowledge and then they can really goes into their special interest in terms of channel.
No, but the problem is that there are many people who choose to consume news about the ongoing conflict. From only one side of the of the picture, right? There are people who consume only the mainstream media, and others who go only to the online to get their information and points of views. So how you think the people in general should handle this situation?
I think looking at the bright side, I think when people, finally will balance themselves, there should be two extreme first. And then they will know after when time goes by. From the situation, I think if we see from 10 years has passed, a lot of people through generation we have learned that the social media also generate emotion, whereas mainstream media generates knowledge and discussion. So we kind of, this generation, we kind of know how to balance. But for the youngster, I think they comes with the, energy and ideals and standing points, and from that generation, I think we should understand them as well, that they're born with the social media and new media. So they're like a global citizen in one way, in one angle. So, but they will learn as the times go by, I think.
They may learn a lot from social media, but also, again, social media also offer a lot of so-called echo chambers.
Yes.
And there could be some dangers that people only listen to or hear the voices or views that resonate with what they think.
That's true. I think in democratic society, I think they can voice their opinion, but also they know that there's a group of people that probably don't get along with that opinion. They don't agree with that, and both sides should take into account whether why they go against it, against their own point of view. And I think finally they will finally, as time go by, I think they will know how to balance themselves. That's what my opinion, my angle.
Hopefully that will happen.
Yes.
But with this social media landscape, anything that has to do with the protest seems to get a lot of engagements, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. But with Twitter, we we seem to have those who tend to be more pro-democracy with the teens and youngsters talking about the issue. What is your take on this?
Can I have again your
Okay,
your
so with
question?
the social media landscape, anything that has to do with the protest seems to get a lot of engagement, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter. So what is your perspective on this one?
Of course, because new generation, they're exposed to new media, especially Twitter. Even though I have my own account, but I never, until the political right now, the atmosphere right now, I kind of start getting alive. So I kind of sneak and try to seek out what they talk about. I think it's normal actually in terms of using this space as sending voices and opinion and ideas, and I think it's the way that ordinary people like us want to express our identity. Comparing to all the public figures, influencer, and some people in power that have space in media as that position that they have that already. So I think it's normal.
Yeah, but with the comments that we're seeing on social media, we tend to see how divided they are, whether those who are pro-democracy and those who are pro-monarchy. How do you feel about this one with so much division that is going on social media amidst the protests?
Well, I think it's kind of we can see that Thai society right now is moving toward like a free speech and marketplace of idea, especially for young generation. If I say that from the phenomenon that we have seen right now, we've seen. So I don't know what's gonna be in the future. I mean, how it's gonna lead to, what kind of situation. But I think the opinion, I mean, if they're gonna be the adult in the future, so their point of view should be taken into account for the people in power, and there should be some space, I mean, for them to sit and talk and share. I mean, formally, I think that should be a proper.
No, we have talked to many young protesters,
Yes.
mostly students, and they said they don't read newspapers, they don't watch TV, they only consume news on the social media, right? And of course, we all know that social medias sometimes tend to be full of anger, emotions, right? So if people, especially young people, consume only news or point of views on the social media, do you think they can get a correct picture of the way things are now?
Well, with emotion, I don't think so. I mean, purely emotion, I don't think so. That's the weak point of social media that I agree, because the social media by their nature is like making conversation. It's not just one way, or it's express the opinion and talk. So that nature of it can create emotion quite easily. So anyway, I think the burden will goes to the leader. I mean, the leader of the protest, the one who lead it. That if the purpose is to really uplift the society and uplift the knowledge and widen the ground into discussion, I think that should be their burden as well to take into account that seriously, not just create emotion.
You're talking about the media, both social and mainstream media being marketplace for ideas, right? But for the mainstream media, we have to admit that there are some limitations. There are things that we cannot really put on sales in this marketplace, especially when it deals with the monarchy, right? So there's a big difference now.
I know.
The social media seem to be having a free hand in discussing this issue. Why the mainstream media, the traditional media have been very careful and have been restrained in talking about this. So how do you think traditional media, like myself, I belong to the traditional media organization, right? How should we handle this issue?
Well, I think we have to look back at what we stand for, actually. I mean, as time goes by, the nature of traditional media, that's still a good side. I mean, a strength, strong side of traditional media in terms of creating a hub of knowledge. And I mean, officially, in terms of formally, people still, comes on to traditional media when they need something, really, dependable. I mean, this is official. So I think the way traditional media, like mainstream media, are dealing with it is doing well so far. But however, there is before I came to this program, actually I tried to search, do my homework, and I found that there's one article from Professor Kidi from Nigeria. He said about dealing with sensitive issue. One thing that the media should recognize is that the media should not forget what happened in the past, the history that happened. And I think that's probably, we have gone through all these crises several times during the past many years. I think probably it's time for all the mainstream media probably have like all gather together and really have a serious talk about this. What is the condition, what we should do, at least in the midst of a crisis. At least we find a new way to, together and hold hands and do something about that. I mean, to make some balance, or at least to make some safe space for both generation, or sending out some message for people in power. I think this should be a brighter side of amongst the chaos right now. I think yes.
So what would be your advice for the media in terms of the reporting so that they won't glorify violence or hatred that is going on with the protests?
Well, for my suggestion, I think it's just like any kind of sensitive issue. It's not only political. I think we should look through the whole process of making news, like going to the news source, not lying to them. This is professional, right? Yeah. The way you zoom the picture of the children, especially children. I think traditional media really deal with this very well because you guys have all the knowledge. But this is the weak point of social media. What I found, because from their from their page, like their own page in the right side or the left side, when the children comes out on the stage, there's a picture, the face of the girl and the boy fully, captured. So I think that's a sensitive issue, and of course they're not professional, so they're like an amateur and trying to send out their voice. So it's no intention to that, but they need to learn that as well, the effect and the impact will have on them as well. So
do you have the feeling that the powers that be, of course, the government seems to be losing the war on social media? The Prime Minister himself is not keen on using social media.
No.
And I don't think the people in his government are keen either.
That's the weak point, actually. If you want to make conversation with new generation, you need to understand the nature. It's not the traditional way of treating children anymore, because I'm so excited myself. After the COVID, how can, for university student, this is not an interesting phenomenon, but for school student, this is quite a phenomenon for me, because they suddenly, come out in group and then make a movement, and what they voice out is their own experience in schools. It's not about the ideal or about the monarchy or anything else like that. So the government should have some room and understand the nature of children right now. Their Z generation, yes. they're quite global in terms of audience.
Yeah.
They know everything.
But judging from the Prime Minister has been saying about the protest, it doesn't look like he understands the emotions or the feelings of the young people. He still believes that there are those dark forces behind the protest, right?
From my experience, I mean, I'm a lecturer in college, university. So I think they've changed a lot every 5 years. I mean, the way they think, the way they act, and the knowledge they can seek. From my experience as a lecturer, I cannot just go going through PowerPoint and make them remember. I need to act as a conductor.
Wow.
I mean, so because they know well, sometimes they know.
So you believe that the students, at least the students you are in touch with, know what they are doing, right?
They know what they are doing, but they come with a very full of energy, and they don't have experience in dealing with political situation right now. I mean, they don't have that experience. They come with the ideal and the idea to make a country better. If we believe in young generation, we need to give some space and understand them. I think.
So you may have talked to one of your students who may have joined the protest or may agree with what they're actually doing right now. What sort of views have you been hearing from these students at the moment?
What do they want?
Yeah,
in short?
exactly.
Well, they want what they propose.
The official one or the official one?
The official one, yes, the official one. However, I have to say this: that's not like in my class, like 30 students. Not all of them would say yes, I agree with that. But the one who agree with that are really, strong in terms of their voice and opinion. The rest, some don't hesitate to express their idea, but some they don't, they smile. The way they act is they smile, but they don't want to say anything. So it's there's quite different in terms of expression towards these issues.
So a lot of changes with the expressions compared to 5 years ago. They may not be as expressive in terms of their political views. Am I right?
Yes, that's true.
We know what the official demands are, right? The amending of the constitution, House dissolution, and an end to harassments of government critics, right? But do you have a feeling that the students, or some of them anyway, have a clear vision as how they want to see the country?
Well, I don't think they know in details about everything, but they know in concept from their experience. For example, for the college student, like university student, they are the first voter. So they have a direct experience already since the last election. And their idea and opinion is that their action, their response to that election, like they think that their voices haven't been heard. So this kind of thing create a direct experience and strong impression for their first election. So that's one thing that they experience. But in details, I don't think they have a clearer picture. I mean, for as their age right now, I don't think they have that much experience.
No, it is quite clear that Thammasat University has returned as a hotbed of student activism again, because the major rally planned for the 19th of September will be held on that campus.
Yes.
So, do you have any idea what will happen on that day?
Well, I have my master class on Saturday, and they want to cancel. I mean, does all students ask me, well, you want to cancel class? For what
It will be a casualty of the protest. But do you have any idea what would they still be repeating the same demands, or would they raise the level of their protest?
Actually, I don't know. I don't have any clue. But from my expectation right now, I think they still insist for that proposal. I mean, to the government. I mean.
Is there some sort of warning you would like to give to those who might join the Thammasat protest in a couple of weeks' time? Is there anything they have to be concerned, to be cautious about?
Okay, well, I've talked with friends before come to programs and a lot of quite a few lecturers. I think one of the things that need to be cautious is that you come because you believe and you make your own judgment. I mean, right now we are in a society that with all information, all emotion, but you don't go in groups because your groups, believe so. But you need to have your own judgment, your own logic to ask for something that really important to the country. So, and you need to be aware that I mean, there's a lot of mission, in your life going ahead. So be careful. I mean, yes.
I'm sure that as a lecturer at Thammasat University, you must be in a very difficult or challenging position, right? Understanding what the students need or want, and then also under pressure from the authorities. So how do you balance yourself between these two sides?
Well, I have to tell you, in Thammasat, there's no pressure at all. I mean, in terms of running our profession as a career, as a lecturer.
No orders from someone outside that you have to stop the students, you have to silence them.
I'm not a rector or a vice rector, so I don't have any pressure.
The pressure doesn't come down to you directly.
No.
Okay.
So I'm just teaching, but this kind of thing really impact me in terms of communication. I mean, lecturer. Sometimes I have to give some example that really need to balance between two sides. So and let them make judgment and critique. So that's the way many lecturers need to adjust themselves. If in terms of communication field, I think it affects us a lot because students need to hear from what they have experienced.
I'm sure that many students would want to tell you, Ajahn, take a stand.
I think everyone have personal stance, actually. That's individual test, I think.
Understand that correspondent with what they stand for, right?
Whether you agree or disagree with the protesters, or have you decided not to say, talk about your vision or your stand with the political views?
Well, I actually don't want to lead them in terms of me as a lecturer. It's really hard, but I think everyone have their own personal preference. I mean, ideal. I mean, as we grow up, we know a lot, we learn a lot, and sometimes as time goes by, we change as well. So we may agree with the concept, but we don't agree with some minor details in that concept. So it's kind of flexible and can be changeable.
So are the protests leaderless, with no leaders, as people say they are? Are they really that way? No leaders leading the protests? No
really
clear leadership?
Don't know. I really don't know about that. I really actually wants to know whether who's really, behind all this and making communication strategy, all with
there
the
must be some
student.
people, someone behind the movement.
Yeah,
right?
because especially for the student, really need. I mean, in terms of the way they came out, comparing to university student. University student, I think I talk with friends they're more traditional in terms of movement, in terms of to be on stage and talking and all that. But for the student movement, student in school, from school, I think it's interesting. Yes.
So the final question. So how do you think this whole thing will move forward? What will happen next?
I'm keeping an eye on it as well. It's really exciting for me. I mean, this kind of phenomenon. However, I think these kids, I mean, I admire them actually personally. I mean, admire the way they send their voice to the public and their courage without, especially for students. I mean, the way they react is not in a humble way, but strongly and quite clear in terms of message.
Okay.